we're very bullish on the future. I mean, I think we are seeing the value of geothermal in California today is worth quite a bit more than solar PV. And that's simply because they have built so much solar PV, about 19.5 gigawatts worth, that new solar projects in California are virtually worthless. They don't provide energy that you need because we already have this big duct chart of too much solar in the peak part of the day. And they don't provide any capacity because they don't provide power in the evening when all the air conditioners come on, or in the morning when everyone's taking a shower. And so with with low energy and low capacity values, solar is getting hit hard. Geothermal produces powers at those moments of the day when the prices are highest. And so we're seeing our energy prices increase, and our capacity value, because we produce power 95% of the time, stays flat. That increasing value has led us to sign new contracts in California with the largest municipality in California for hundreds of megawatts of geothermal. We looked at that value, that increasing value of geothermal, and then looked at what regulators called integrated resource plans. So what they've tried to do in California is say, what are our energy needs going to be for the next 10 to 20 years? And what energy should we procure to meet carbon reduction goals? Because California has passed AB 32, which says we have to get our emissions down to 1990 levels. And so they created a plan called the RST resource plan that said if we can only emit 40 million metric tons of CO2, what are our options and what resources should we build? And the first time they did this study, they said we can build about 200 megawatts of geothermal. And Ormat got involved and said, let's look at that model again. And the price they had for geothermal was wrong, very high. And when we put in our last contract price, that number increased. And then what the CPUC did was say, our loads and forecasts weren't quite right when we first looked at this. Let's look at the huge amount of new solar and our loads moving forward. And that number jumped from 200 megawatts to 1,700 megawatts of geothermal they need in California to meet these carbon reduction goals. We then took that model and kept playing with it and said, they have a resource cap. So they said, we think there's about 2,000 megawatts of geothermal available in California. How they came to this number, God only knows. I mean, it fell out of the sky. We think that number, coupled with resources in surrounding states, is much, much higher. So when we removed that arbitrary cap from their model, the number jumped from 2,000 megawatts to 6,000 megawatts of geothermal that they could deploy economically, cheaper than solar and wind in California, to meet these carbon reduction targets. And so for us, we went from what could have been an industry crippling study to something that says 6,000 megawatts is twice as much of the entire installed capacity for geothermal in the United States. We need to take that, we need to run, and that's just in California.